So web page SBA. For web page SBA, you're basically doing the same thing you did for your assignment. You're going to use the same website builder. You're working in the same groups. It's only one web page you need to build, and you're using the same website. You can use any website builder, but it's the same thing, basically the same thing you did for your assignment. Use the website builder and put in the information. Now, what do you have to put in? The Trimbarajam Elections Commission has requested that you design a web page to provide the public with general information about the election. So you're providing information about the election. Where is this data about the elections? Before things. Excel, spreadsheet. So, because remember the data from the spreadsheet went over to the database. So, whatever you're going to put on this web page coming from the spreadsheet. Point number 1, Commission's logo. You're putting the letterhead. All of your EDPM students, you know what's a letterhead. The same letterhead that you created in your Word document, same letterhead you put in. If you don't get it in the same layout, try to make it as close as possible. Because some students had a hard time putting the date, the address and the phone number next to the logo and the business name. If you don't get that, just try to put it somewhere relatively close by. Even if it's like 2 spaces below or something.
So when we use base rate, what I noticed is that it's shrinking the size of the logo. How do they manage that?
Well, because it's a header section, I think they're shrinking it because to fit that header section. So they have a standard header size. So maybe that's why they're not giving the option. And that's a good point because you can reason that's a limitation with website builders. You don't have full control of your design for a website. That's why even though we have website builders, and it's easy to create a website with these website builders, you have limitations. Limitations being, how well can you design this website? The full control. You don't have the space to put in exactly what you want, position things exactly what you want. You're limited based on the templates that you would have picked. And the resized options and so on.
So is there basic things that another website with image
It's possible. You got to check if other templates allowing giving you a bigger header section, or if it allows you to resize the header. So the commission's logo, basically your letterhead, logo, business name, and the contact information. That's point number 1. Point number 2, display information about elections. So the information about elections, for example, you could display the total votes received and the total votes cast in each constituency. So that data you can present on your web page. So basically the summary table in your spreadsheet has that information. So what you can do, you can take that information, don't crop it out, redesign it in some other software or something, and then you put it onto your website. Remember, your content on your web page has to be presentable. Or you can basically extract the data, copy the data, or type back the data, create something on the website, put the information. If you ever check Chazelle's webpage, she actually did it very nice. She put 3 columns of 3 sections, 3 columns coming down, like large columns to put in the data inside of it, and she had a nice header banner above each column. So if you want, you can ask her to see her or how she designed her data part. It's actually nice. If you want to design a table in spreadsheet and do up your headings and so on, and just crop that and put it inside. Remember, when you crop, it just look like a crop. So you want presentation and so on too. Yeah.
So over if you didn't want to recreate the whole thing, you got to screenshot it out. But if you copy and paste over, obviously,
Whatever method you want to use, once it's presentable.
So it could go back.
Yeah. Anything, doesn't matter. Once you have the data. It's not like in Word where it told you that you need to put a table. However you want to present it. So that's point number 2, presenting data. Point number 3 is links to the commission's email address. So you're going to have a contact section. So basically your website needs to have like 4 or 5 sections. This is important for you to remember. Your website needs to have 4 or 5 sections. The first section, the main section, is going to be this information about the elections. It's the elections information. When I say section, remember we use it only one page. Everything is one page, and it's like you're putting it into sections on this one page. So you can say like how there's a line there. That's the top section. That's the bottom section. So the top could be the elections data. The bottom could be something else. So please don't tell me I was recording the wrong screen all the time. Thank God we didn't start the lesson. Yes. Yes, I was recording the wrong screen all the time. Good. No, I said I was recording the wrong screen. Quite okay. But you said, no, in the era after. Yeah. No, that. Yes, Kia. No, because nobody said what. Anybody said to join on, right? Exactly.
So he's just recording.
Somebody could just send a message in the group and ask if anybody joined. And if they respond, let me know. Exactly. So the bottom there, remember for the assignment we did hyperlinks, 4 different hyperlinks.
You were saying 4 or 5 sections.
Oh yeah, I was talking about that. Before 5 sections. The main section is going to be the elections data. Section number 2, you're going to have yeah, you need to have a contact section. You need to have about us. But I'm trying to remember the 4th one.
Wait, the contact section and the fourth?
You prioritize it. But I'm just telling you the sections. Elections data section, contact section, about us section, what the website is about. Huh?
Do you need
No,
do you need like the location to meet?
that's in contact.
Okay.
So the top part, your what's the word for it?
Behind the letterhead.
You may need the
Huh?
location.
Everything, the first thing people see when they look into it.
When you open the website.
Yeah, the first thing, like how you get signed and homepage. Yeah.
That is the election information.
Yeah, that's the main data. So you talk about what the website is about and things are starting.
You
When
still
you,
listen section.
I can't remember as well. I sent it to the group the other day.
Did?
Yes.
The other group.
That's just so cool. I love it.
Elections data or the form. You need a section because one of these hyperlinks is, well, it's basically when you check the mark scheme is 4 hyperlinks, 4 out of 2 hyperlinks. So I'm checking for email and a link to a form because you're gonna already have links to other pages. So I'm gonna check. I could only mark the 2, link to the email and link to the form. So the 4 sections is gonna be the elections data, the elections form, the about us, and the contact section. Now why I say 4 to 5 is because you need to have a page, you need to have a web page with display past election results. That's the last one there. So what you can do, you can have a complete section about it, like a complete section about past elections data, or right below the current elections data, you can say click here to access the past elections data. Either one. The main important. No, you need a link that you can create the past elections data as a link as another page on the website. So when you click on this link, it's going to take them to another page. So 4 or 5 sections, elections data. The message is right in the group. You can check it out. The big IT group. Elections data, and inside that you can have the past elections link, or you can create an entire section for that. The form is the same form you created in your word processing. So all you're doing is basically uploading the form. If the website allows you to upload it, you upload it to the website and you click on the link, it downloads it. Or if it doesn't, more than likely you might have to upload to Google Drive and then paste the link there, whichever one works. It's just for when they click on this link, it downloads, that's all. So elections data, past election section, the elections form, so you create an entire section talking about this form. The form is to nomination, basically applying for the elections. So you talk about if you want to apply for these elections, please click here to download this form, fill out the information, blah blah blah. That's it. Yeah.
So what time is for register for the elections and what will you put, like what you write? Like the actual questionnaire or form you put into
The same form you create in the word processing, you put it in using that app. Didn't you create a form in the Word SD?
Yeah.
That same form they're downloaded, that's all.
So we can put a link in a section, in a specific section, and the form. So they download it.
That's all.
Also, sir, what are some the websites that
You can use their websites.
that CSEC will approve of?
Anyone, doesn't matter. Yeah. Any website will.
Another thing. What about Word? Using Word, is that harder? Which one would you recommend using?
It's not harder, Word is not harder, but when you use Word, you gotta send more files to CXC. Because remember when we learned about Word, you gotta create that HTML file, plus you gotta create that folder that got all your images and all the additional files. So you gotta send all the folder to them, and then sometimes it might not open properly and all of that. So easy methods, just create a use a website builder, and you just send the link, and that's much easier. Yeah. CX is my back all SBA.
Yeah, this one you're gonna ask if they feel like you deserve it, 20 days and
Yeah. Yeah. CX is my. That's why when we are marketing, we have to be careful with how we market. We have to ensure that you're doing everything to get your mark. Whatever we set up to CXC, they can still check it, remark it, and give you that same score if they agree with our mark. They're supposed to, but we don't really check. Everybody getting grade 1, so.
Yeah, but still, you can still check. You're sure about the
Sir, how many of all your children got grade 1s?
No, majority got grade 1s. Some got grade 2s, and maybe like 2 or 3 got grade 3. So the majority
no
of
4 or 5.
no, it's 100% pass. The entire fifth one.
What's that?
The entire fifth form. I've heard that for the past couple of years, it's been 100% pass. IT.
So are you teacher?
No. You see what you have to understand. That's why the SBA is important. If you do a perfect SBA, you basically go into the exam with a grade 3, grade 4. So once you do well in the exam, even if you do half well in the exam, you come out with a grade 2, you come out with a grade 3. But just if you do perfect in the exam, you come out with a grade 1. CX is not hard, just the others make it hard. Once you do a perfect SBA, you don't have a problem. Good. So 4 or 5 sections, we got the sections, right? The election section, the elections form, the past elections, that can be with the current, or it can be an additional section, whatever you want to do, and about us and a contact. 4 or 5. The past elections. That can be either a new one or inside the current one. But remember to clearly indicate the different section. Either put a different color or you put a line. Most persons put a different color. Like if you put a dark blue, you put a light blue. Everything has to be on the same page. But everything has to be on the same page. But you're gonna still create that same section as another page. So when you create the About Us section, create a page in the navigational area for About Us. So yes, you're putting everything on the main page, but you're still creating a website. Good. So if you notice, the web page is actually very short. That's basically it. So y'all should finish this before the tour ends. That's next round. We can start it next round. Yeah. That's why when we come back fresh next term, we're gonna start it. Yeah. You gotta create a program. Hmm? Yeah, it's take a while. That's why it's being left for last. The practical is basically SBA. There is no practical in paper 2. No. There is paper 2, but there's no practical part of it. It's theory. Yeah. Paper 2 is like 12 questions.
12?
All compulsory.
12, like
But it's short questions like A, B, C, D.
You mean question on different parts?
Yeah.
Well, what story is this?
Because that's how the structure is.
So it is the speech, right?
Yeah, because it's more focused on the practical part. EDPM.
So if you type that slow, you lose the marks.
Is this not thing up?
Yeah, the moderator is supposed to be checking up on the. Yeah. Yeah. So what it actually supposed to do is that when you're the first 10 minutes they're gonna give you this speed test paper and it's supposed to take it back when the 10 minutes finish. But sometimes they don't take it back.
Yeah, because I went us.
So, but you still gotta be careful and try to finish it off and finish up with that stuff.
You just type it as a manuscript.
How and something? Hour 45.
No, put it type in.
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
It's a different part. It's that's a different part. Which one of them? The manuscript is a different one, and speed test in the exam is a different one, right? The actual one in the exam, but there's the date is not a different one.
Yeah, that's a different part.
And this same 10 minutes.
I don't think that part is a practical.
What?
Is it?
What is that?
I think speed test is the only practical
Yes,
part.
that's part of the SBA, right? Speed test.
Or
No, speed test is not part of the SBA. Sir, no. Correction,
you gotta do other things in the right?
So EDPM,
Yeah.
you type it only do the practical.
Yeah, typing over your practical.
It's get another one with that with like a more shit type of
Yeah.
and then
It's got other things it's got to do other than speed
What is that
test.
do?
After start fall.
it's easy. EDPM paper is like what should I say?
It's the same thing y'all do in the class, the same thing you go in the exam and do.
It's just the 4 questions. The first one is speed test. The second one is something to do with English and everything.
That's the manuscript that you gotta
Manuscript.
The third one is like some letter they just get and the question be like A, B, C, D, and it's got all the instructions when you're typing out the paragraph. Like it's got to be just in the paragraph on the
No, the manuscript is giving like the actual manuscript and
Yeah.
it's like to type
Type
it
it,
out.
yes.
Yeah, it's saying yeah, everything has time limits.
No, that's the speed test, got a time limit. Yeah. Everything else, that's why you do the speed test first.
So the paper 2 is practical.
Yeah.
I can type, so I
I think so.
Do we have to use like the standard type thingy? Because I can't type like it's so awkward. Yeah, like the keyboard thing with your hand.
They're supposed to monitor you, but once again they don't do it.
Index does it.
But I don't know how to make it.
That's not practicing. Hello, we're wasting time, you know.
Yes, sir, I would like to go home.
Yes, I thought you smart.
Alright, so this is your mark scheme for your webpage SBA. Inclusion of graphics and text. So once you include graphics and text, you get 1 mark. Once you appropriately position them, your text and graphics, you get another 2 marks. It's basically 10 marks. It's only 10 marks for your webpage.
It's only 10 marks.
Only 10
The 10 marks is very hard to apply what you want to do because you need to change this, change that. So there's only 10 marks.
You're gonna get your marks once you have all the requirements. My only issue gonna be with you is your overall design. That's my issue gonna be with you all the time. Once y'all present the information neatly and everything aligned with each other, use appropriate colors, we're gonna be fine.
I want me 5 marks. Yeah, I want 5 marks.
The layout needs to be suitable. So how you position your information needs to be suitable. Follow the majority of consistent requirements. Once you follow them, you get 3 marks. Go to the bottom here. If you notice, we got 4 hyperlinks, only 2 marks. So that means only 2 I'm gonna mark for. So a link. No, I can only mark for 2. No, you can create all 4, not a problem. But I'm gonna only look for email and the link for the user created file, because you're gonna already create a link to another web page. That's your navigational links.
Oh, right.
And when you create that link to your past elections data, that's another link to another web page.
Okay.
So I'm gonna look for the email, that's in the contact section, and a link for the user created file, that's in the elections form section. The location on the same page, a lot of you are having difficulty with that. You can put it in if you want, that's up to you. That's basically it. Huh? It's how to position it. The form. User created.
Oh, it can be personal using using service
English exam. Alright, so any questions on the SBA before we move off? Yeah, that's it.
10 marks. Sir, I want my 5 marks, sir.
Come to me tomorrow.
Got you.
Tomorrow's the last day.
Got you. I come to my 5 marks.
So remember 4 to 5 sections and ensure all the requirements inside of them, and create your other pages with the same information. That's basically it. Use appropriate color, use appropriate design, use appropriate layout, everything neat. Don't have empty spaces. Like you're gonna have a logo here and this whole big space at the top here empty. Try to take up the space, but don't overuse the space. Have a balance.
If this thing is not highlighted, what kind of conflict do you have here, sir?
Alright, so we're at exercise 18 in Spreadsheet. Yes. Is exercise 18? No. Exercise 9. Let me try to finish off our spreadsheet in the next half an hour. Alright, so enter the following data into a worksheet starting at cell A1. Remember, you're making your notes for the main points. That's how we're focusing on, right? Save the workbook as results. So we already know how to save a file. We know what's the difference between save and save as. Very cool.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Save, you just like save the document, and save as, you save it in a particular part of the computer.
Shaniza?
Sir, save is you saving everything, every change you make in the current file, and save as is when you save it. It's a new file, creating it in another.
Perfect.
Very good.
Sure.
Select the data, select the range of data and name it lang. So that's how you name a range. Good. That's how you name a range. Using
I didn't press enter? Oh, my bad. My bad, Phil. No, sir, continue reading.
sort the data by grade in ascending order. So what we're looking at is basically sorting. Sort the data By grade in ascending order.
By grade, okay. When you start, yes, put the, okay, hold on. I don't think I should be answering that. Look.
Alright, before we waste time, is that correct?
Oh, okay. And the whole thing? I think he's gonna highlight the whole thing, sir.
But not the whole thing to the bottom one below.
Listen to what they're telling you.
Click on C above grade. Above grade.
But why would you want to walk here? Here. Why would you hide the whole thing?
Click on grade.
When you're sorting one column, you do not highlight anything.
Start, yeah, then
But then
Good.
being,
When you're sorting one column, you do not highlight anything. You're just right clicking on a cell in that column. Because when you highlight, it's only going to sort the highlighted data. If you want to highlight, you need to highlight the entire table. And then you're going to need to go into custom because you won't be able to detect grade and age. It's only going to detect the first column when you highlight. Now sort the data by subject in ascending order and grade by descending. So you're double sorting now.
oh, okay. So, hold on. I got select the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shut up.
You right click, left click.
Oh, the thing mixed up. Custom, sorry.
Good. So subject in ascending.
Subject.
Good.
Okay.
And grade in descending.
I have to add a level.
Good. You gotta add a level so that you can get that double sort. Grade in descending order. Good. So what sorting by different level does is that it sorts that first level. So it sorts that first level. For example, it sorted subject in ascending order. So this here is the 2 English, this is the 2 French, this is the 3 Spanish. And within this section now, for the same word, it is going to sort the other level within this grouping here, within the similar words. So inside the similar words here, you're going to have the sorting of the descending grades. So notice it's 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2. So if you notice, you got 4, you got 2 here. So it's not ascending coming straight down. It's ascending inside of that level. So that's why you do a double level sorting. If it was a triple level sorting, it might have this is going to be this section here, the 2 English. Then inside of this section, grade is going to be sorted. And if you want to, if it was like a third level now, say for example, age would be inside of this 2 here. If there was like, for example, this one here at the bottom. If for this 2 and this 1, this 2 here is going to be one section now. So inside of this 2's is going to sort inside of it, that section there. Alright, let's focus on the double level. You understand the double level? The first level of the sorting is that the subject is in ascending. The similar words are going to be like a group. Inside of that grouping now, the second level is going to get sorted as the grade. So inside of this grouping now, so you can treat this here as like this table now. This 2 English is like the table now. The sort. So that's where the grade can get sorted. Now if there was another level, it's going to be basically the same thing. If there was different grades, like how we got different grades here, this 2 by itself going to be like another table. So if there was like multiple 2's now, then age is going to be sorted within this 2's here. So like if there was multiple 2's and multiple 1's in this French here, the grouping would be based on this single 2, this single 1. So it's like you start with one big table, then you go in a smaller one, you sort, and then you go in an even smaller one and sort inside of it. Use the auto filter feature to set an answer.
No, I read this already, sir, but this one.
How do we apply auto filter? to filter.
Oh!
Hold on. No. Hold on. Hold on. No, this advanced auto.
Check
Is
the top.
no.
It's
Is
right
that
here.
one?
Yeah, just click on
You
the-
sure it's okay?
Yeah, it's on the-
Okay.
Oh.
Left click.
Sir, this
Yes.
okay. And
Once you see those arrows appearing, this might be a question in the exam. What do those arrows indicate?
that they
Those arrows in
are
the headings there. Those arrows are indicating that you turn on autofilter or you're using autofilter. Those arrows in the headings. Once you're seeing that, you're using autofilter. Now, you need to sort information for 18-year-olds. So now, that there is a manual method what Akil is doing right now. The correct method, click OK. Click OK. So that could work, but that's a manual method. So undo. What you want to do is click back in the same drop down and click on number filter. This is the more accurate way, the more correct,
equal.
effective way. You can say equal and type in the number 80. Enter, and you have all of the grades there. And you gotta remember what's under NOR.
What correction specifically gets them to under?
It's not just spreadsheet, it's IT in general. It's a rule. And it's not just IT. IT rule, it's how computers are designed. It's a more technical part of computer that is dealt with computer science. It's with binary. How the binary numbers, how they add it together. It's a bit technical. I want to explain it now in computer. But it's basically how computers are designed. That's why you get an AND or. It's called logic gates. Logic gates. You're supposed to know about logic gates?
Suppose.
Oh yeah, you're in business. Science students?
No.
No,
You like that?
I don't know. Nobody like hearing this in person. Guys, we'll do IT.
Well, one of those subjects is supposed to learn logic gates.
Let's say I'm science.
Alright, good. So that's how you filter for 18-year-old. Grade with 4. Grade type with 4.
Okay.
Good. And students who are under 18 with a grade 2.
Okay, so students who are equal.
Under 18.
Wait, hold on. Where? How was go back?
Cancel.
Number filter less than 18.
Good. And with grade 2.
Text equal.
Good. So under 18 with a grade 2 then. Good. All subjects ended in ISH.
Contains.
Ends with? Or you can say contains. Yeah. But see, if you do contains, what if ISH is inside of something? This is asked if ended.
Sorry.
Okay, well.
The word as IS is put 3 letters and not together.
And
Then it won't be.
I at the start the word
No, it won't be ISH. They gotta be together like
I'll
that.
change it. Ends with ISH.
Good. So English and Spanish.
Alright, that's it.
Start the
Alright.
word from next year.
Create an advanced filter. How do we create an advanced filter? So an advanced filter needs
You
3
have to-
things.
A criteria and something else. They have this other thing.
It's on here.
And the grades, the range.
Name the range.
The
Range.
name of your range. Okay, so criteria area is one. The output area is another one. Oh, I select the amount of data.
Oh, and the thing was put the criteria to the code. You can still have to find the criteria to
Yeah,
it.
it's the criteria.
It's
Criteria
oh,
And the data.
so
Yeah.
The data that you're sorting. The data that you're filtering. So the data, the criteria, and the output area. The 3 things you need. So what's the first step for creating advanced filter?
you have the highlighted column, the headers, the headings. The heading in the bottom and put criteria at the top.
And then do next again and put output area and the advanced filter and put criteria inside the column.
Oh.
Put the bottom and put criteria in the
Yeah.
And what are you looking for?
So very centered to look in the criteria.
And
So-
wait, man. I can't do everything.
Students who
at once.
obtain grades 1 and 2, 1 to 2.
Students who grade obtains grade. One and two. That's how you position it.
We can try that. That can be what? What type of criteria?
But you don't put everything in one area.
Shaniza?
Yeah.
And that's types of criteria?
Yeah.
Yeah, and an R. Yeah, I get confused.
And an R.
I get confused.
The same and an R that you saw earlier, those are the two types of criteria.
So, but can you do
There's what I wonder, so we can try it to see if it's gonna work. How can we know the difference between an and an or?
Sorry.
Different.
And is when you got something with it. Or is either you put this
And then you
or no.
How can you visually tell what's the difference?
one is start first, one is do whatever you gotta do first, and then the other one is do one first, then go to the next one.
Good. So you have the idea.
Does it work?
You have the idea how it works, but how can you tell it visually?
Copy and paste it and no. Yeah, copy and paste slash.
Okay.
Equal.
Okay.
Equal by the grade one, but equal and one, two.
They might give you an example of a criteria in an image, and they might ask you what type of criteria is this?
Equal to farm, but it can't equal.
Is it an and, is it an or? How can you visually tell which is which? Huh? No.
One, then one is, well, one would be a R,
Why?
because you put them separately, or something.
How is it separate?
Like in different cells. It's in different cells.
Copy and
It's in the same, it's not in the same heading, but in a different.
Are you not put the criteria?
You technically don't need to copy back the headings to the output
That's
area.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, but
So.
sir, you not put the criteria.
She has the criteria there, we can try to see. Alright, just create the advanced filter, it shouldn't happen. So, good, the table is highlighted, copy to another location. So, when you're
Here, if you
copying
don't
it,
shut up.
So let me set up film.
I'm doing it. Shut up, please. Thank you. Bear, please. I don't. Thank you. Thank you.
So-
Copy too.
look here now. For the advanced filter, you can filter in two locations. You can filter in place. What does in place mean?
Right there in the data.
In the same.
Right there in the data, sir.
What do you mean right there in the data?
Sir, they could
Show me
filter it.
physically.
Hold on. Yeah, they could filter it right
Good. So filter it right in the table, that's in place. And when you copy to another location, it goes to another location. Good. Okay. Still did not work.
there. It did not work.
So we I think for this case we gotta use less than 2 or less than 3, and we're gonna get grades 1 and 2. Less than 3?
Where's the last done?
Huh? What? I think so. Because remember, the criteria is asking for grades 1 to 2. So you gotta do it.
Sir,
Not less than 2,
So it can be less than 3. Or less than equal to 2. Less than 3. Just less than 3.
okay. Less than 3.
Once it pointing to the left,
L-E-S.
we had this conversation already.
Yes,
We did.
Once it points to the left, it's left. Once it points to the right, it's more. Good. Create it now.
Okay.
Delete that at the bottom. Just highlight it. Our brains is work.
I understand things all.
Just delete. Delete.
That's what I do it. That's what I would.
You're lying, you're gonna do this. sir.
Please leave me alone, sir.
Don't do entire column. Can you delete everything?
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah,
God, wow.
yeah. I was going to figure that out soon.
Good. Create.
Advanced.
Come on, we're running out of time.
Sir, this computer is stressing me out.
Yes, I say, because now we doing this here, how to help you with it. Now here, how to get from.
I don't want Pia to help me.
But you don't know what to do.
You know what she do? This started everything. I should everything started.
Yes.
I said, always say separate shit now.
This I say.
I don't
I hope when we start web page, I feel no shot like this because.
I'm fed up with this.
I know because you highlighted the empty row. Let me try it. But basically, we got the idea, right?
Yeah.
Main
Sir,
thing.
please explain the other or thing now. Like how you
Oh,
differentiate between
the and criteria, you're gonna see it in the same row. So, for example, you might see something over here. Huh? I don't know what you said. And criteria. I said visually.
Sorry, you see, I understand things on a different
You bring.
Sorry.
I said, I told you they might give you a picture of it in the exam and they might ask you which is.
see like that one too. If they show me,
Once the criteria is the same row, it's and. If it's a different row, doesn't matter which order it's in. If just once it's the different row, it's an or criteria. Anybody respond in the group?
No. I asked them right now.
Good. Use a pivot table to count the number of students who have results each subject. How do you create a pivot table?
You're going down T and click up pivot. Is that insert? I think it is.
Why is it not?
No, when you put the pivot table there.
I'm not gonna put it there. You have to put location. That's
So when in this
selected
box you
table.
select the data, you select the location. New worksheet, click OK.
Wait, no worksheet. What?
Just click OK.
Yeah.
It creates it in a new sheet. And you simply drag and drop to get the data to the pivot table, right? Pivot table. Pivot table is linked to a table with the main data. If you change the data in the main table, does it automatically update in the pivot table?
No, you stop click on it. The teacher put back in the next one. Yeah, it's actually funny.
You have to refresh it. So pivot table does not automatically update. If you change the data in the main table, you have to update the pivot table. It doesn't automatically change. Just right click on it and it's going to give you the option to refresh. Yeah. Right click on the pivot table.
Oh, wow.
Refresh.
Yeah, I heard it. I was paying attention, sir.
Count the number of students.
Create a table with grades in a row.
Wait, hold on.
Grades in a row. And subject in the column.
Where's, subject. Subject in the column. I'ma just move it. Why is it not moving? Sir,
If you can.
sir, it's supposed to move. It usually moves.
Usually. Good. Good. Is this a one-dimensional or two-dimensional pivot table?
2 lines.
Right.
So because it has column and row.
Very good. It has column and it has row. Good. Length and width. So once you have information in the column and in the row, it's a two-dimensional pivot table. If you have, just check off subject.
Huh?
Just check it off. Check it off.
Oh.
If you have information only in the row or only in the column, doesn't matter which one. It's just only in one place, that's a one-dimensional pivot table. Alright, starting filtering and frequency distribution, create a table.
Hold on.
We already know the sort. Sort the data, we already know the sort, we already know the create an advanced filter. We know the difference between and or. And we know the frequency distribution. Frequency distribution is when you group numbers together to form a frequency. So like for example, you have a list of age and you're not going to look at them individually, you're going to look at it at a frequency. Every 5 ages. Huh? Yeah, I think you have to do that. Every 5 age, every 10 age, or something like that. That's a frequency. How do you create it? You create it using a pivot table. So, for example, this same pivot table here. Remember, numbers are numbers. You can only group numbers. You cannot group words. You cannot create a frequency with words. Akila, right click on the those grades there.
Okay.
And you're going to see an option of group. That group is the frequency distribution. Click on group. And a group is selection on take out subject.
Sorry, I'm because it's actually on the row when you
What's the word?
Oh, because it's not. Oh, you got to put age in the row. Very good.
Okay.
You got to take out the rest.
What?
We only need age.
Okay.
And we need it in the row.
Wow. Oh, hold on.
Good. So right click on the numbers now that is inside of the row, click on group, and this box now, basically you can say what's the starting point, what's the ending point. Like if you don't want age 14, no, that's excluding it. That's not creating the frequency. That's basically where you want the numbers to start from. So like if you don't want a certain age in the frequency, you can completely take it out here. We want it to start exactly from the starter, so you can check it. At the bottom now is the frequency, the bottom one. How do you want it to be grouped by? How much? Say if you want it to group every 2 years, because we only got a couple of difference there, click OK. Notice it grouped the age here. That's a frequency of 2 years. So once you see something like that there, that's a frequency distribution. Yeah, you can go. Round of applause for Akila. Anybody go next? Who's going next? Kia already went. Atavia? Okay, come people. Yes. You went already. That's why Kia is here to guide you.
What time past 7?
4:30. We got 30 minutes. We're at 11. So enter the data shown at B9 to B. Figure 7.58. We can just use some dates that we already have. In. We can use. We have a table already. Yeah, we can use this here. Locate the chart wizard and click on the insert tab to get the chart wizard. View the chart types. Good. Click on same recommended charts. Right, left click.
Left, which is my left.
Yeah, select the data or select a cell inside the table.
Carol, good.
Good. Click on all charts. So this is giving a recommended of at the very top. Hello. All charts. So you have to remember what is the difference between charts. Why would we use a pie chart over a line graph? Why would we use a column over a bar? Well, column and bar basically same. Why would you use column instead of line? It's important to remember why to use a certain chart. I think so. So the same chapter here tells you what's the difference to each chart, so you can read up on that back again. So basically, you click on the chart, any chart, and you click OK, and it creates that chart for you. Good. Now, you have the quick layouts there. To the left, quick layouts. This here, take a picture right there. If you can see all of these images here, all of these images here, they're all charts. But if you can tell, there's information like where the title, where the legends are located, where the axis title go. it visually tells you, if you hover your cursor over it, it actually tells you what elements it adds in. So this is like a quick way of adding in all these elements instead of going to a chart element and adding them in manually. So like for example, go to this last one here. Just go to this white area. Let's go to the white area. If you notice, visually, it has the axis title, it has the legend, it has the axis title, it has the title at the top here. So that's how you automatically add all of those elements. You should remember what's the purpose of the title, what's the purpose of the two axis title, the horizontal and the vertical, what's the purpose of the legend, what's the purpose of the legend? What's the key?
What's on the information?
What's the different types of data? What's the different type of data
Values
represent?
and labels.
Well, if it has different types of data, the key or the legend can tell you what's the different type of data. Moving the chart. How do we move a chart? You right click on the chart in a blank area. It has to be a blank area. And then you click on move chart. Because that's when you want to move it inside of the sheet. What if you want to move it to another sheet? You can click on new sheet. And it's going to move to another sheet. Click OK. Now, what is the name of this sheet? No. This sheet has a name. Yeah. Yeah. Once a chart is on a sheet by itself, no grids or anything, that is called a chart sheet. Other sheets are called worksheets.
So our charts can be put on this sheet.
No, that's one chart. Because if you notice, there's no other space for you to put anything. That's why it's called chart. It's only for one chart. Go back.
Go back.
To the other sheet. Or, how do you go back to the chart sheets? Just click the three dots. Good. Good. Change the chart type
To what?
to a line.
Or zero.
Right over the getting right.
Oh.
Give like Liverpool. Click the line.
How are you doing a line? How are you doing a line?
I'm not even ready to do it.
Yeah, but why would you do a line?
Why would you use a line?
It looks like it just did.
Why?
Because it's a brand that put their shop increase over the years and whatever stuff.
Fluctuation and
So,
stuff.
exactly. So you need to know what the difference between them. But you would use a line when you have like you can say like a timeline at the bottom, a straight path of data, like a year, a date, or certain days once it's in sequence. And then the line is going to show you the trends. If you notice, there's like 2 English there and French there. If it was grouped, like if there was 1 English and 1 French and 1 Spanish, then it could have worked. Because then it could have showed the trend between the different languages. But because there's multiple of the same languages, it's not really good. But then technically they're showing the trend because it's different. But then again, it
That
got
makes
2.
sense.
Yeah, it got 2 Spanish literature. So,
Yeah.
Alright, so we know how to add our axis titles, how to move our chart. What is the 2 keys to show you your formulas? The 2 keys to show you your formulas. Control and
The 12 thing.
huh?
Control and the 12 thing.
I'm sorry, Judy.
It's not central.
Central.
The little thing.
Yeah.
Tilde is the little worm thing.
Yeah.
But we call it the
CTRL.
Shell is central just now, right?
Something like that, some central.
Central.
Control.
Yeah.
I could have swear she calling. I could have swear she calling this central. So it's control and that key, or the tilde key. Alright, so the rest is basically creating charts, putting in information. 7.7.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll say we're trying to finish our spreadsheet now. So click on File. What's the shortcut for print? Control key.
Just do that.
You gotta click on that screen.
Which screen?
CTRL, sit, row.
CTR is short for control.
Yes, what you're saying. I'm producing the shortcut on the keyboard.
Where the icon from? Where the icon from?
Sit, row.
So pronounce CT.
Sit.
Good. So when it comes to printing now, we have quite a few options here that you should remember. This here obviously is to create different copies. This is to select your printers that you have. Printer properties. Here you can change the orientation of the page. You should know what's landscape and what's portrait. What sheet should you print? Should you print active sheet? Active sheet just like active cell. Active sheet is what sheet you are currently on when you press print. Entire workbook, print the entire workbook. In selection, you say what sheets to print or what pages to print. Or you print a certain section. So you highlight basically you want. You say pages what to what here. Now collate. What is collate? Y'all should know this, EDPM. Yes. Which one?
In series of 1, 2, 3, and then on pages of 1, and pages 2, and
Good. Since it's right here, collated. Say for example you're printing a brochure. The brochure has 10 pages. You're printing 10 copies of this brochure. So that's 10 copies of that 10 pages. But if you send off a print at the same time, how is it going to come out? You could say printed collated. Instead of you going to start it out manually in the specific order, collate is going to do that. It's going to print all page 1 to 10 for you. Then it's going to go to the other 1 to 10, then go to the other 1 to 10. That's collate. Uncollated is when it's going to print all the 1s, then all the 2s, then all the 3s. It's represented right there. You all understand? You should know its page orientation. You should know about different page sizes. You should know about the margin. You should know about the scaling. Scaling is when you could fit information to the page. So like if there's too much information in the sheet, you can shrink it to fit in the page. So that's going to be fit on one page, and so on. These are some additional options and so on. Remember to hire the DPI. Higher quality. DPI stands for dot per inch. Yeah, basically more English we use to our stuff. It's more related to quality. Dots per inch with first quality. That's like resolution. Kilo? You finished, you got 18. Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
now it's 1 minute to the hour. It's the 4:30.
We're going to wrap up with spreadsheets. Something else. Yeah. Alright. Maybe you can roll out. Let me finish this off. So, the last exercise is basically importing data. How do you import data? You basically create another file that will have the data inside of it. So, you can use a notepad. Kayla, we're here. So we can use a notepad to create our data. Now, when you're creating this data to import, you need to be able to separate the data. When you're separating the data, what we separate the data by? As a name. Obviously. What is the name for the feature that separates the data?
Feature?
Or the option or whatever you want to call it.
In a table?
No. When you're importing data, you need a way to indicate that the data is separate. It has a name. It starts with D.
Divide.
D-E. D-E-L. D-E-L-I.
Delegate.
D-E-L-I-M.
Eliminate.
Close. Delimiter. So, if you want to create columns, say age, students. Our delimiter here is space. A single space is separating our data, and that's indicating the column here. So under this now, I can say 14, 13, and I can put a space, Liverpool, 43, space, Shania. So that there's my data. That single space is separating my data there. We have different types of delimiter. We have space. Anybody remember this? Anybody remember what's the other types of delimiter? Space, tab, pressing a single tab, comma, colon. Basically, you need a single manner or way of separating the data. One single way. So use either a single space throughout or a single tab throughout. You're not worrying about if the data align. You're not creating a perfect table. You're just separating it using this one method. So when you create this file here, you can save it. On desktop, save. Spreadsheets. How do you import? You go to data. This is the import section here. You click on from text. The import wizard is going to come up. You search for the file. Text, that file there, import. The import wizard is going to start. I don't know, like the wizard is updated, so. Now, notice the word here. Delimiter. So it has the data here, and delimiter. Notice the types of delimiter. You have comma, colon, comma, equal sign, semicolon, space, tab. You just need one single way of separating your data. Now, it automatically detected I used a space. If I check comma, notice the data, it grouped it all together. Because there is no comma separating the data. So it grouped all into one cell. Y'all see that? All grouped into one. So it says not seeing that delimiter. So when I click on space, it's separated into its different columns. It detected that single space, so that represents basically the different columns. So when you're using a delimiter, you're only going to use one when you're importing. And you basically, I think it's transform and imports the data. Or is it import? What's it do? What's it doing? What is it doing? What is it doing? It creates something, some type of editor. Anyway, so that's what we import, that's the delimiter. That's the two important things to remember. The last thing is basically linking cells. So when you're linking cells, you can link cells between sheets. So if you have you guys ever wondered why is there there's an A1 here, there's a B1 here, but when you go over to another sheet, there's also A1 and B1. Why doesn't it conflict? Are cells supposed to have the same name or are they supposed to be unique? Unique. So how is there A1 here in this sheet and then there's an A1 over here in this other sheet? But why? But why is it not conflicted?
Because each sheet is unique. So
Basically that. Each sheet is unique. That's why in the first place you cannot name a sheet the same name. Because just like how each cell is unique, each sheet is unique. So basically it's like an enclosed world. The cell is only inside of this world. So, but if you want to use a cell in another sheet now, what do you have to do? You're going to click the equal sign and you're going to click on the sheet name. And that's there going to appear at the top and you simply click on a cell. I'm going to complete it so that we can look at the what appear here. When you see this here, equal a name of a sheet and exclamation mark, that's indicating that it is getting this cell from another sheet. Once you see a name and exclamation mark on the cell, it's getting that cell from another sheet. How can we know if it is getting it from another Excel now or another spreadsheet? So equal, click on the name, click on the file, and click on the cell. Enter. So if you notice, I'm just pressing equal, like if I'm starting a formula, and I'm basically clicking wherever I want. And it's going to link wherever cell I clicked on to the cell that I created the equal sign. Like if I'm creating a formula. But how do we tell where it is from? This one here, notice the name of the file is in square brackets. So the name of the file in square brackets, once you see equal square brackets, whatever name is inside, notice the dot XLS, XLSX inside of it, that's indicating the name of the file. After that, you have the name of the sheet, exclamation mark. That's the name of the sheet here. Exclamation mark is separating the cell from the sheet. The square brackets is separating the file name from the sheet name. And if you notice, with this example, it automatically added the absolute addressing because it's a completely different sheet. So in this case here, if you wanted to do relative addressing, you need to take it out, but it's using the absolute addressing here in this example. Any questions before we close off?
Sorry, if you update the original cell.
Exactly. So that's why you're linking it. So this cell of F4, if I go over to this sheet here, the same F4, whenever I type in here, because the two cells are linked, is which F4? No, it is not. This is F4. Whatever I put inside that cell, that's why you're linking it in the first place. It's going to appear in this here. Same with the sheet. That's why the cells are linked. Whatever is in one cell will appear in the other cell. Just one. Because if you think about it logically, it's only one time you can enter in that equal sign. Good. Fill. Well, in this case, it has the absolute addressing I was telling you about. So if you change it, yeah. So if you change it, it's working just like a cell, but just that you're pulling the cell from another sheet. So the data from that other sheet now, or that other spreadsheet, is getting pulled over to this here. So it's basically like a easier method of using VLOOKUP. But you see with VLOOKUP, they have the different uses. VLOOKUP is when you want to type in something and search for something. But this is when you want to like absolutely link the two cells together. And like they stay permanently linked all the time. Whereas the VLOOKUP is when you want to change that single value and it updates. Any other questions before we close? Yeah. That's it?